Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another discussion video. Today we're getting back on track talking about the set 14 archetypes. Namely, today we'll be talking about the Green Buu stuff. That being said, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a Dragon Ball Super video. And if you guys want to help support the channel, there are many links down in the description that will help do so. But particularly today, if you guys are looking for custom sleeves, playmats, deck boxes, binders, any of that stuff, use your playmat down in the description. You will get 10% off your order there. And I've been getting so many emails from people who have been ordering from yourplaymat.com. They're super happy with the products. Your playmat makes really high quality stuff. I think their sleeves are just right underneath Dragon Shield in terms of quality. Dragon Shield being the best regular sleeve in the industry, being right underneath that for an art sleeve that does not peel is absolutely incredible. I love their stuff. Again, 10% off your order if you use the link in the description. Anyways, let's get started talking about Buu. Alright, we got the leader for the archetype. We have Majin Buu. Auto once per turn. Place one card in your life under this card. When this card attacks, draw 2. Activate main once per turn. Spirit boost 1. Place up to 1 battle card with energy cost of 4 or less to your opponent's drop area under this card. Choose one of the chosen card's keyword skills, and this card gains that skill for the turn. And then awaken your life's 4 or less. Draw 1 card. Untap 1 card. Okay, a few things here. I will preface this by saying I've actually been testing Buu pretty extensively, and if you guys are in the Discord or following the channel on Facebook, make sure you guys do that. If you're not, links are in the description. I posted that I'm not super impressed with Buu upon initial testing, and the Unawakened Leader is just a couple reasons why. So here's a few things. You have some really high-end stuff in the deck you want to pay a lot of energy for, but you're a leader that's forced to take a life on swing. We haven't really seen a leader like that since like Yellow Broly. That leader was really strong in its time, but nowadays if you want to play a longer mid-range strategy, it doesn't pay you to be taking life. So this is a pretty weird design choice in my opinion. The Spirit Boost effect is also like okay, but there are so many matchups where this is a dead effect, especially like against Black, where Green already struggles against Black plenty, and against like Dark Broly, for instance, you can't take any of their things for the drop area, so you're not really interrupting their drop all that much, to be honest. So yeah, it's a little bit weird, a little bit like counterintuitive, where you have to awaken pretty quickly to use this guy's draw 2. But anyways, moving on to the Awakened Leader, Majin Buu, Unadulterated Might. We have auto once per turn, when this card attacks, draw 1. Activate main Spirit Boost 1. Pretty much the same skill as the Unawakened side, except now you can take 4 or lesses from their board as well, which is some nice removal. Activate main once per turn. Place 2 cards under this card in the drop area. Then this card gains plus 5,000 power until the start of your next main phase. So it is pretty nice that you do have the ability to be a 20k swinger, as well as being Sensu Beamed on your opponent's turn. The Awakened side of this leader is definitely a lot better than the Unawakened side, for sure. It's just that the Unawakened side is pretty lacking, in my opinion. Moving on to some of your starter cards, we have 2 different 1-drops for Majin Buu, Never Ending Absorber. We also have Unadulterated Malice, which is an insane card. But quickly, I'll just preface this by saying that all 3 of these cards have the same Unit Absorb effect. Choose a card under your Majin Leader card and place it under this card. Then play up to 1 mono green Majin Buu with energy cost of 4 and 15,000 power from your deck or drop area on top of this card. Then shuffle your deck if you look through it. So they all share that effect. Absorption Scheme, when you play it, you draw 1. He's my personal favorite because he's picking his ear. It looks pretty funny. The Never Ending Absorber, when you play in the top 5, you could add a green Majin card with energy cost of 5 or less. Personally, in my build, I don't play this one because I feel like you just don't really play enough Buus, to be honest. I do have a build I'll probably bring you guys by the end of this week. I'm still working on it, but yeah, it's one of my builds that I'm using for testing. And then we have Majin Buu, Unadulterated Malice, which is basically Buu Topo. So counter attack, if your leader's green, get the attack, play this card. If you played a card, choose a card in your hand and discard it. Then your opponent can't attack for the turn unless they choose 2 cards in their hand and discard them each time. Now, the way this card works is really weird, because all the effect text for his negate is in the counter attack text. But normally when you have all that, you can't really be interrupted by counter plays, but this one can be, and here's why. So it says you have to play the card and then resolve the rest of the effect, right? Pitch a card, then your opponent can't attack unless they pitch 2 or more. So the thing there is, if your opponent uses like Godsling Technique Trunks, right? Technically, the full counterattack skill won't resolve because you won't be playing the guy. You'll still negate the initial attack, but you won't be able to floodgate them. But what makes this card a little bit better than like Topo, for instance, is that if they do activate Godsling Technique Trunks, you're not playing the card, so you don't have to pitch anything. So you're not really losing out on that exchange as much as you would be if it was Topo or Regisated. So it's a pretty weird thing about how it works, but it is super, super nice that this card exists. For green definitely needed something like this where, you know, you're trying to play these like grindier, you know, control-y types of games, but Dorm Potential wasn't truly cutting it on its own as a floodgate. Having this as an additional one is pretty nice, albeit, you know, many people will find this card very, very annoying. It definitely kind of is. All right. Here is the Buu that those Buus all go into. Majin Buu Mighty Absorption. We have a 4-drop 15k. The evolve doesn't matter. Permanent, if this card is removed from a battle area by an opponent's skill, you may remove one of your Majin token cards from the game instead. So it does have some pretty nice protection. Auto, when this card's played, you can search one of your green unisons of 1000 power. And then if you added a card, you discard a card. And then activate main, limit 1 Spirit Boost 1. You can play a Majin token and then add up to 1 card from light to hand. Your tokens have 15,000 power, 0 combo cost, 5,000 combo power. So this is kind of like the main engine of the deck, I guess you could say, like going wide with these tokens. Like this deck doesn't really play a Buu chain, but you play all the different like Buu absorptions onto the field individually, and that's kind of how you're supposed to win the game and swarm the board. It gets even weirder when we get to the boss monster, we'll see in a bit. But yeah, this is like the main heart and soul of the deck. He searches this unison, Bobbity, Wicked Mentor, 1-drop, 1k power. Permanent, if you have a battle card with Servant in rest mode, your opponent can't attack this card. Very strange, and we'll see this in the second skill in a second, how Servant and Overlord are like very whimsy, like not super consistent skills in this deck. It's very, very strange, but for some reason they decided to go with it. Auto, once per turn, remove a marker from this card using a Spirit Boost skill. It gains Overlord for the turn. And then activate main +2. Choose one of your mono green Majin Buu cards with original energy cost of 15,000 power or less in rest mode in your battle area. The chosen card gains Servant until the end of your opponent's next turn. So the main thing you're going to do is attack with Mighty Absorption. He's got his own protection, which is nice. And then you're going to +2 to make him a 25k, essentially like a Deadly Defender, because as long as he's there in rest mode, your opponent can't attack your unison. So with that setup, this unison is actually quite nice. The fact that it +2s and that it has some pretty solid protection, it is a nice little pair. Majin Buu Brilliant Absorption, 2-drop 10k, same unit absorb as the guys you read on the previous slide where you could play Mighty Absorption. And then Auto Spirit Boost 1. If one of your green Majin Buu cards is removed from battle area by an opponent's skill, play this card from your hand. So pretty similar to the 8-drop Baby, where if your baby dies, you can play that guy and then go back into your chain pretty nicely. Although this one costs Spirit Boost, which again is not too difficult to meet in this deck because your unison has pretty nice protection, and he does +2 per turn. Although I do find myself sometimes using like 2 to 3 Spirit Boost effects in a turn, and that does you know, tax your unison quite heavily. Although it hasn't been a problem where like I've needed to like kill my unison or I haven't had enough markers. It is just a little bit of like a, I don't know, kind of like a stressful situation, if that makes sense. But anyways, moving on to the boss monsters, we've got Majin Buu Ultimate Despair. Evolve does not matter. Permanent, if this card would be removed, you can remove one of your Majin tokens from the game instead. I do really like that protection clause that this guy and the other Majin Buu have. Auto, when this card's played from your hand, play a Majin token, then choose one of your opponent's battle cards and place it under this card. And then you can play this guy for 2 energy if you have 3 or more mono green energy, and you choose one of your green battle cards and place 1 card under it in the owner's drop area. So I do really like this as a 2 energy, pretty much kill anything, spawn another attacker. The one thing I don't really love is that none of your guys have threatening keyword skills, and yes, your leader and the 5-drop that we'll read in a second can gain keywords, but it's totally dependent on what your opponent's playing and what they put in their drop area. So you don't really have like a ton of game ending pressure in the deck itself, which feels kind of bad. But anyways, let's go to the 5-drop. I know this card is super polarizing. I'll give my opinions on it after we read it. So it's Deflect Revenge, permanent while this card's in rest mode. Your opponent can't attack your leader card unless they choose 2 cards in their hand and discard them each time. Auto, when this card's played from your hand, choose all other non-token cards in all battle areas and all unison cards, ignoring barrier, negate their skills, and place them in the owner's drop areas. Your opponent chooses 2 cards in their hand, discards them, and if your leader is a mono green Majin card, place those cards under your leader card. Okay. With that effect, I guess we'll read the second auto, then I'll give my opinion. If you have 5 or more energy, if this card's placed in your drop area from a battle area by an opponent's skill, play this card from the drop area. Alright, so they want you to pay 5 for this, which is a total board wipe, but keep in mind, it also wipes your own board except for your tokens, and it wipes your unison. That's a really, really tough sell for me. I don't think this card is really that great. If you could somehow cheat it in for 4 or 3 energy, I think it would be much, much better. But getting to turn 5, even with Dormant, even with Unadulterated Malice, like, I just don't think it's really too feasible to get to this state in the game, especially against those hyper aggro decks. And even then, like, this card's protection is not all that great. Seaguard 90 Mass Sand just makes this card completely obsolete, which is super unfortunate. Yeah, the two-sided board wipe for 5 energy, I just don't think it's very, very good, unfortunately. I know a lot of people think this card is super, super good. The other thing, too, is, like, you're paying 5 for this guy, and yeah, theoretically, he's supposed to, like, make sure you're protected for, you know, the next turn, because he is, like, the revenge and punishes your opponent for attacking your leader and whatnot. But he himself does not have any threatening keyword skills, like no double strike, no triple strike, no critical. It's honestly really rough. I don't think this card's very good. I do think you can build a deck to, like, perfectly fit this card, but even like a Cell Surge deck, I just don't think this card is all that great. But I mean, you know, I could be totally wrong. Time will tell on this one, but in the Buu deck especially, I don't think it's that good. But those are simply just my thoughts on the card, so of course I want to know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm sure a lot of you guys will disagree with me, but anyways, Wicked Mimicry, 1-drop counterattack, Spirit Boost X, negate the attack if you remove a marker from your green unison card using the skill, play a Majin token in rest mode. Permanent if one of your green unison cards is attacked. You can activate this card's counter skill from your hand without paying energy cost and discarding a card. I don't even think you'd play this card in the deck, to be honest. I think Dorm Potential Unleashed, Unadulterated Malice, and Shocking Deathball are probably all better options, but I guess it's cool there's a negate that spawns token. But yeah, anyways, overall, Buu stuff, pretty unimpressive, to be honest. Again, I wish it was a bit better, and maybe I'll be proven wrong in the future. Who knows? I want to know what you guys think in the comments, though. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.